shortage of time, but thank you so much everybody for coming along. It's really good of you to give up a bit of time at lunch to come along and support a Women's Network events. Really pleased as well to see so many gentlemen here as well, because we don't want it to be just a standalone women's event. This is something for everybody. We hope we'll be able to do events that are interesting to everybody and everyone can get involved. So, with no further ado, I'm going to hand over to our living champion, Jenn, who's hopefully going to help us all become a lot more motivated, not just about work, but perhaps about everything in life and everything that's important to us.
Yes.
So, over to Jenn.
Wonderful. Thank you. Good afternoon. Right, my name's Jenn Tibbenham. That's how you can find me in the email directory. But legally, my name is Jennifer Ann Donatelli Tibbenham. So if anybody wants to fill out any more international paperwork, that's my full name. It's a joke. I'm legal. I'm totally legal. So, right. Three-time world champion. Once in powerlifting, 2009 is super heavyweight. In the deadlift, I lifted 374 pounds. And then the last two, in 2013 and 15, I was a world champion with the International All-Round Weightlifting Association. And this is where it's not your typical lifts. It's like thumbs together bench press. Basically, a whole bunch of meatheads got together and said, how can we make something that much more difficult to lift with? So this is where it's like, oh, okay. So it's kind of a little bit of caveman lifting, so to speak, and some kind of, how do we say, like the 1800s, like strongmen that had like the proper mustaches with wax and what have you. Also, I was top 20 in the United States at the age of 17 in the discus throw. So that's one of my little feats in life. And then I've lost 35 pounds this year. If a baseball player can put it on his professional business card, I'm gonna do it. Because I tell you what, it takes some motivation to shift some weight, in all sense of the respect of it. Right, so this is where it's all started. This is me throwing a discus. Oh, yeah, I guess lights. Thank you. Coordination.
How to do it.
So,
Bottom one.
bottom one. Right. This picture was just taken me 2011, just a few friends and I. This is what we do in Idaho, we just throw. So the throwing direction was that way. I was starting out at the back of the circle in almost a position of throwing the discus that way. This was a picture of me in my last track meet with Boise State. Junior year, kind of hard. I missed by qualifying to the NCAA, probably by that much. I wasn't a very happy panda, so life goes on. Why lifting has kept me grounded whenever I've ever had a problem in life. You know, I was speaking to a dear friend the other night over dinner that I've been kind of programmed the last like 12 to 13 years. I don't know if anybody's seen the movie Universal Soldier, where that guy's like, you're gonna run 6 miles, you just do it. You don't talk back, you just do it. So I've always had an after-school activity. It was no horsing around. That's probably the reason why I'm a little bit militant to this day, that it's like, after school, go put on some clothes and you're gonna go either play volleyball, football, soccer, whatever, and basketball. But I started to specialize at about age 15 with track and field. I just decided that I was good at it. And then at that time, I actually qualified for the state track meet, which for a freshman, about a year 14, 15, that's pretty unusual. So I just thought there's a little bit of talent there. And right, before I ask, or the question I'm going to ask, how many of you have older siblings? Please raise your hand. Wonderful, great, great. When you go home tonight, you should thank them. And why I'm saying this is because either, you know, the whole wrestling that you've had, or slaps, spats, whatever you've had, I think they make you a better person. And before there's a smart aleck in the audience to say, well, Jenn, I'm an only child. Guess what? Go thank one of your friends' older siblings, because I'm sure at the end of the day, they probably made you a better person. And because of that, my brother has made me the tough little bitch that I am. So this, I mean, we watch WWF and what have you. So like, we have wrestling buddies, Rough House, what have you. He was like, don't you dare tell mom or dad. And so, anyway, I think it's just made me a better person. Just buck up. Yeah, there's my twin. It's my mom. Anyway, right. Anybody know how many hours of practice to achieve mastery in a field? And then here's another question too. Anybody recognize what movie this is from? Good job!
Yay.
Yes, glad to hear that. Right, anybody want to take a nice guess? How many hours did it take?
10,000.
Huh, wonder who you heard that from. Yes, 10,000, thank you very much.
Listening.
Yes,
Yeah.
good listening. Right, it takes 10,000 hours before I get the question of, Jen, where did you get that answer from? Actually, when I first went to track camp, Ironwood, I was 13 years old, and I went up there. I heard this Olympian speak, Colin Anderson, who is a glide shot putter. Glide is that nice kicking ability to throw the shot put. He said it's about 10,000 hours, because he put it, he was so, how do I say, anal about writing every single workout, even repetition in the circle, the throwing circle, that he said about 10,000 hours. And I calculated out with even myself, I do have a little website if people are that interested, calculated out at 5 hours a day, 5 days a week, that's about 2,800 days, or 8 years. So I believe it's 10,000 hours, it has to be. There's all these little theories, no it shouldn't, but on the other hand it makes a difference within practice, that's 26%. In music it was 21%, sports 18%, education 4%, in your profession just 1%. So obviously within the performance areas of life, practice does matter. Right, so this is me, the Arnold Classic. Never thought I'd get there. Good old Arnie, the background there. So I went to this Arnold Classic, not to get confused with golf like Arnold Palmer. When I tell people, I'm like, I'm going to the Arnolds. We're like, golfing? No, this is strongwoman stuff. So I never thought I'd get there because if you've ever watched like Pumping Iron, it's about posing, you know, and they're like that classic little do there. You can see the nice obliques. Anyway, but that's where Arnold always says it's about reps, and I have a few guys that I met down here that we always lift together. And we kind of do this Arnold voice. It's like, it's all about the pathways, so it's reps, repetitions. So that's where I'm saying that you just can't think you're automatically going to be good at something. You have to take a risk, and at some point you have to believe in yourself to say that either I'm going to follow, either you're going to do something with it, or you're going to say, no, I appreciate it as a hobby. But if you want to do something more with it, that's when you find out your subject matter experts. You get involved, or look on Facebook, try to find more people that appreciate that hobby. Also, a newspaper article from the New York Times said that weightlifting can slow age-related shrinking parts of the brain, so it prevents that. So that's why you should lift. Where are we at? Sorry, gotta keep us moving. Right. That's where I'll put my little video here for a second. Right. Here we go. So it's all about risk.
Dismissed from drama school with a note that read, wasting her time, she's too shy to put her best foot forward. Turned down by the Decca Recording Company, who said, we don't like their sound, and guitar music is on the way out. A failed soldier, farmer, and real estate agent, at 38 years old he went to work for his father as a handyman. Cut from the high school basketball team, he went home, locked himself in his room, and cried. A teacher told him he was too stupid to learn anything, and he should go into a field where he might succeed by virtue of his pleasant personality. Fired from a newspaper because he lacked imagination and had no original ideas. His fiancée died, he failed in business twice, he had a nervous breakdown, and he was defeated in 8 elections. If you've never failed, you've never lived.
Any surprises there?
That says it all, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's trying to work out mentally sometimes, is it worth taking the risk? Are you prepared to fail to then try to learn to succeed? Or even out of the failure thinking, hold on, okay, that's not meant to be, but I'm going to try this instead. Just because I failed at that doesn't mean I can't do this. So, but you have to take the risk. You mentally have to say, I'm willing to take the risk.
Good enough.
That's what I take from that.
This picture of the group of girls that I competed against in the Arnold Classic, obviously various different bodies there. Anybody see any observations from those group of girls?
You wouldn't want to mess with some of them.
Yeah, that's one thing. When competing there, you could see that there was some enhancement, and obviously it was in the press now, about this whole doping thing. With Strongwoman, it's always been, well, Strongman, that event, it's always been the culture, and that's not a route I don't want to go down. So anything is pretty much all natural with me. I do kind of use, of course, neoprene kind of sports aids. Like last time, there's another picture, but I love my shoulders, and my mom's had 2 rotator cuffs. You only get one body, so you got to protect your body the most you can. So, right, and then weight loss this year. This was taken in March. I was weighing about 110 kilos, and this morning I'm at 93. So this whole weight loss, everyone's motivation is different. Mine, I was sick and tired of getting kidney infections. They're not fun. So I tried to train through them the most I could, and I was sick and tired of it. And after the Arnold's, my body was pretty much shut down. It was like, you're not going to do this anymore to me. I spoke to one of my other Strongwoman colleagues. She said, speak to this gentleman. He's a nutritionist, and he helped. Within 2 weeks, I could feel less pain in my kidney. So that's where, at some point, what we do with our habits and eating, that you just think, oh, it's okay, it's a little sugar, whatever. That that sugar inside was basically breeding infections in my body, so that I've had to do a more low carb diet. So it was a lot of more healthy fats. It was great. I could have steak in the morning. So, I know my grocery bill was pretty high, but what can I say? It was at least good food coming into my body. And obviously, when I came back from the Arnold's, started the job within stores, it was a little bit different. My brother, he's a warehouse worker. He was. That, he just said, Jen, just keep with it, because I just told him I'm really tired all the time. He said, your body will adapt. So just deal with it, give your body time to adjust, and you'll be fine. And then with my alcohol, or with my diet, there was no alcohol, no excess sugar, so no Maynard's wine gums, which are kind of my favorite. And randomly, I could have green apples, but not red apples. Apparently there's an enzyme that kind of kicks that off, that says, nope, that it starts to give me kind of an attack. So when I spoke to this gentleman, he just said, well, if you're going to go on this diet, and I thought, well, turn a negative into a positive, I said, well, fine, I'll just get down to the 95 kilo category when I go for the Iowa Worlds. So if I was going to have all this weight loss, might as well have a good target with it, take the good with the bad, basically roll with the punches. And with my weight loss game, I had to psychologically analyze my behaviors for my success. So I love my sugary drinks, totally a Coca-Cola addict, but I couldn't have it, or else I was going to have another kidney infection. So I found a substitute, sweetened coconut milk or almond milk, for the days I was a little bit tired. And then also, if I had a frustrating day, come on, either people like their, red wine after work or what have you. I don't need a show of hands, but I know that it happens. It happens, right? So I found a different sort. I used lapsang tea as an alternative because it almost tasted like whiskey to me. So that was my way of always basically tricking myself, tricking my tongue to say, no, you're not going to have that anymore. To just make sure. What's that?
Where does that sell?
Yeah. So, yeah. And when I've almost lost about 40 pounds, every 1 pound of body fat you lose is 4 pounds of pressure off your knees. So me losing that much amount of weight, estimated figure of 40, I've actually have not put 160 pounds of pressure per knee. So that's where you see a lot of people that just, again, that they say their knees feel better. It's because you're not having to carry that all the time with you. And of course, with me doing my strong woman stuff, me putting 500 pounds on my back, again, that at least my body weight, taking that off, that it'll be a little bit easier to move. Right. So this comes to the point of the mental game. So, any runners in here? How many miles a day do you run? Or when you do?
So 6 or 7.
6 or 7 miles.
Yeah.
So what do you do in order to try to push yourself to get there and be consistent?
Monitor everything on a watch.
Okay, see, this is good old technology, watches, great. And it is good. Because the other day when I did run, I saw my neighbors, blah, 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 have a little chat, and I did run into place, and I'm sure they thought I was crazy. But I was just like, we're already at 6.5 miles, go for the 7, right? Because of this. But when my friend and I in high school, she was a softball player, I was a track and field player, obviously 2 polar opposites. So either way, we'll train together. So say for example, oh, this is Sun Valley, Idaho, by the way. Not that I'm part of the Idaho Tourist Bureau or anything, but where I come from. Arnold Schwarzenegger also has a house here. But say for example, your house is over there, and to get to that tree is about a mile. A nice mile. So you get there, woohoo, done my mile, then try to run back. Or if you can't, but at least you know the next time you have a landmark to try to goal set. And because of my Fitbit, which thank you very much to Cavendish or whoever, and thank you all for, you know, thinking that my photo was very motivational or inspirational to get this thing, because I have been really monitoring and it really helps. But the other night I was running around station. I don't know if that's frowned upon, but I feel safe to run around on station. That at first I set the goal of to just do 2 laps around the station. It was great. 2 laps, fine. We'll go for there. And I said, come on, let's do a 3rd lap. So in a way, you have to be your own coach and the person, your own advocate, to say, guess what? You need to run a little bit more. Be your own personal trainer, but enjoy it. And the other thing is too, so with my little picture here, to always, and it's from like the chimp paradox, to always celebrate your little successes. So the first day you ran there, 2 weeks ago, I don't know, you're out on the road and that's 5 miles, but you only get back to that river. Great, it's still progress. And that's what we always need to at least celebrate our progress and success, not beat the living crap out of each other of saying, well, I didn't make that spot. No, just always celebrate your little victories. And then in university, you get, you know, freshmen come in and what have you. And it happened again with my teammate Holly, and she was like, Jen, I'm not running to this marker. It's like, nope, we're going to go down there. Me being the older person, I kind of had the authority and power and to say, nope, we're going to go to the next lap. We're going to go to the next landmark. You're going to have to do that. So that's the little mental game, and I play with it that I kind of play as part of running. And the other night, it was great. I did scream at myself, but I was like, yes, I can do this other lap. So if I'm running around, it's about 6:30, and I'm yelling at myself, it's probably me making sure that I'm going to go for that next mile. Right. This is a gentleman I look up to. This is Steve Prefontaine. He was a 3-miler during the it was 70s, late 60s, early 70s, because it was the Munich Games in '72. So this is my little maxim I kind of live by. To give anything less than your best is to sacrifice the gift. And that gift can be whatever you want it to be, but for me it's sports, life, having the opportunity to lift. God, I love to lift. That's the thing. There should be, you know, you have Alcoholics Anonymous, there should be Lifting Anonymous. That should be me. Because I'm sure, like in the back of stores, it's like, oh, I'm going to lift that. I know probably health and safety kind of frowns upon that a little bit, but it's like, guess what? I'm going to lift that. So again, this is a little picture of, so this is when I started Strong, well, I really started, but it was this, my second competition that was available to me. But then the last 5 years, Strong Woman's really taken off. It was kind of Chinese whispers of competitions going on here and there, everywhere. But finally with social media, I'm totally able to see these different competitions and go to them. So I'm reckoning that's maybe 175 pounds, and when I was at the Arnold's, 500 pounds. So it takes a long time. You have to give yourself time. And like I said, I'm wearing 3 different belts here to support my back, because as much as I love chiropractors that, you know, kind of pop and make me sound like a maraca, I just want to be able to still walk and what have you. So again, like I said, this neoprene shirt, I've partially dislocated my right shoulder, and I want to kind of keep that together. It's kind of important. Right. And leading up to the Worlds, I went to Cyprus. One of my friends that I met with through Strongwoman, she got married out in Cyprus. Great, fantastic. After the wedding, yeah, I know when I say it, a plate broke and shattered into my feet. You think, what were you doing? You know, I wish I could tell you I went cliff jumping in Cyprus, great, I'm alive, but all what happened was just there was a plate, it's sitting in like the drying rack, threw something down, plate committed suicide, and then just kind of shattered in my feet. And then all I know is you heard the sound, and I looked at my feet, and there was blood everywhere. It was like, you know, just, yeah, CIS, just all over. Where was the little, like, placards, the numbers, all the blood spots? So anyway, I kind of had to do this, like, one-footed hop to the bathroom, because I just thought, well, at least I'll kind of bleed out in the tub. And anyway, Graham was like, what did you even do? And I just said, I just knocked over a plate. So anyway, nice little 3-hour wait in the Cyprus hospital, and yeah, and I have stitches. So some people collect postcards, I collect scars on holiday. And anyway, so I get back from Cyprus, my mom and I are talking, she's like, Jen, are you still gonna go to the Worlds? And I said, oh yes, I'm going to the Worlds. I organized some photography, and the thing is, with all this weight loss, that's what really got to me. I'm like, sacrifice all the Coca-Cola, all the drinking, all of the like sugary foods in the world. No, I'm not gonna pass that up. I have planned the last, so it was about, yeah, since July, that I planned and I goal set every single day. My bathroom mirror, I put the numbers of the previous world records, and just when I brush my teeth every morning, I was looking at it, goal setting, to realize that's what I wanted. That is my target. And my mom, she was just saying, Jen, 7 world records, can you really do this? And I said, Mom, the world was not ready for the she-beast you and Dad made. I just said, this is me. And I do, and I have like, when people are competing, I scream, like, you think, where'd you go, Jen? Rock concert, where did you go? No, I just went to a weightlifting thing, and I just sound really horsey the next day. And I have these almost like Rocky Balboa phrases that I say when people are about ready to lift. This is you! You know, just real meathead. But it is. The this is you type little thing that I scream out to say, this is your time to shine. This is your effort, and this is your little record book kind of effort to put into. But it is my little meathead thing, but I end up saying it. But it's just, I think it's motivating. I don't know how you feel about it, but I think it's motivating. Right. So, returning to the mental game, this works obviously in my little picture of running, but I was out on the platform. I attempted, this lift is really awkward, by the way. So you have this nice, if I was gonna get a deadlift, so say there's a bar here, I'm supposed to pick it up, put one arm underneath, and stand up with it. Yeah, it's a winner. Definitely feel from that. Anyway, there was it was 50 kilos I added to the platform. Fine, got it. It's my 3rd attempt. It was funny, my husband was like, how did you even fail that? I tried to get the bar, and it just fell out. He was like, you really didn't even attempt it. I just said, it's just Iowa rules, it's okay, it's fine. So I added 12 kilos onto that bar, had a moment of reflection. I could have got angry, pissed off, sad panda, whatever my emotions of Jen that I get to. And so I looked at this bar, and I just said, just like, okay, just, you know, a little bit of a wider stance. So my moment of kind of negative that, damn it, I should have got that, of just step away, just get out of it, kind of look at this obstacle, and you will get it. And I did. It was just, guess what? Just get your legs a little bit wider apart. You'll get that stance. That's fine. And I did. So from that little bit. Right. Closing. So I know a lot of people ask why. my favorite little quote, again, from Steve Prefontaine: "You have to wonder at times what you're doing out there. Over the years, I've given myself 1,000 reasons to keep running. It always comes back to where it started. It comes down to self-satisfaction and a sense of achievement." And what this gentleman did, one time, I'm comparing my little Cypress accident because I had my foot injury, and this gentleman did too. It was the NCAA finals, and for some odd reason, he had a foot injury as well. He ran with 10 stitches. I'm not that hardcore, at least my stitches were out, but he ran, and after the race, just this shoe was absolutely just sopping with blood. And he did win the race, but he was so angry at himself, by 2 seconds, he could have had the American record in a 3-mile. But he wasn't just pleased at his efforts of, I won that race. He was pissed because he didn't get that 2-second mile to have the record. So, right. I am gonna play my little world, my nice little world record. Is there any questions so far? Anything?
What did your family and friends sort of think early on when you first started competing? What were their reactions to it?
Yeah, there's pros and cons, because I'll never forget my friend in high school. We're no longer friends anymore. It wasn't because of that, but he said, "Jen, like, you're always thinking about the future. Why don't you just think of now?" And I just thought, no, because the future is what is going to make me happier. I just thought in high school I was reeking with a determination that I just thought I was going to go to the Olympics. I was that close with a world record. Some things in university didn't happen. At some point you have to think, I'm here to get a degree and move on with my life. Because that's the thing, track and field, it really doesn't pay the bills as much as you love to do it. But no, it's on one side, that was a nasty example. I'm sorry I put a negative when it should have been a positive. But most of the time, really warm and respected. Even my brother, it was funny, he was just, I'll never forget, I came back from a track meet and he was like, "Well, let me try." Big old shot put in the backyard, and I was like, Mom's gonna yell at you for that. Big old like divot in the lawn. But no, a lot of my friends, they came out to my track meets and what have you, because at least in America, you have the schools pretty close to like these facilities. And then also when I was, in our university years, who did they call first to help them move? So I'm very good with like gardening work and whatever else as well. And demolition, that seems to be a good one that I seem to help with as well. But it's pros and cons. And then I'd also, with training, I would never laugh at anybody, because we all have to start somewhere with training. If you have spaghetti arms, lunch lady arms, just there comes a point that you decide for yourself that I want to train, I want to do this. So whatever goal that you have in mind, that I'm not going to laugh at you, because it's a starting point. It really is. Yes, ma'am.
Do you feel that some of the negative comments that you did get, like you referred back to your negativity
Yeah.
there, do you feel that made you stronger and more tenacious to achieve?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Or for example, back in my university track days, all of us girls would kind of, we'd stay together, and there'd be 3 to 4 of us in a room, and we'd talk about it, how so-and-so thought that we were a lesbian, just, either that particular athlete or myself, and we'd almost have these little sessions of discussion. It's like, well, why does strong automatically assume that it must be, we have these tendencies, or I like to lift, and I just think, well, at least I'm not tagging the streets, being a little graffiti artist, and being destructive towards society. And the thing is, I've actually, every time that I've gone back home to Idaho, I've actually went and coached back to these throwing events, and to show that there's more to life, and I think that you should get back to your community. This is kind of the reason why I did this event, partly, because it's just, I do have something to contribute, I think, that in whatever sport you do, whatever commitment, that there's some tough times, but you have to use something in life as a rock. Alcohol certainly isn't it. So whether it be running, lifting, swimming, or art, because I kind of do that on the side as well, a little bit of leatherworking, that a positive escapism. And with my whole drinking and not drinking for a few months, it made you realize it's like you don't need that anymore. you know, there comes a point and you're like, huh. But back to the whole lesbian thing, even my friend Katie and I, the softball player, that as we grew older, she was working at this gym and I was still substituting back in Idaho. We'd lift, and then another member said, oh, so is that, you know, your partner? So you just think, no, we just like to lift together because we know we like to push each other. So at least we found it a bond. Any other questions? Yes, sir.
Correct me if I'm wrong. As a fellow Westerner.
Yes.
I believe there's a biopic about Steve from.
Yes, there's 2 of them. I have both of them, Without Limits and Pre. And then like the incident with where he gets his injury. I don't know which one is which, or whether if it was because there was an intimate nature of how he got that injury, or because he was being stupid and jumped into a pool. Either way, but Steve, bless his heart, I mean, he was about ready to go to his second Olympics, and then tragic car accident, whether if he had too much or the other driver, and the other driver went away. But and they're also going to start another one, another biopic as well about Steve, and it's asking for funds at the moment. And because like Bill Bowerman, this athlete right here, inspired Nike. Bill Bowerman was kind of the crazy guy that would take his wife's waffle iron and make this polymer to give it the waffle effect for our shoes now. So this is this gentleman here that you could say was kind of the first athlete to ever wear Nike shoes. And I got to visit the Nike plant in Portland. And the person that designed that logo got a penny for every single sale. So throughout that lifetime royalties and what have you, that person gets a penny every time a Nike item gets sold everywhere across the world. Yes, Steve?
So what's next for Jenny?
Thank you, and I did have that on my sheet. What's next for myself? I have a competition in Eastbourne on the 29th that I should crack another 3 world records at with a grip competition. 2 vertical-handed, so vertical bar, it's 2 inches. So again, it's just picking it up almost like a deadlift, but like so, not versus the traditional grip. And then, what else? One-handed deadlift again. So I can't lock my thumb. This is where grip technicality kind of gets a bit weird. But I can grab it like that. So it's a one-handed deadlift, like so. I can always put pictures up. And then I have a Strongman competition in January 10th of next year. It's a team competition. It's having a laugh. 50-kilo Atlas stone that we're throwing around. I know it seems like, oh, whatever, but one of my friends in Norway, she actually got the heaviest Atlas stone pickup, and that was 121 kilos. So, I mean, that was almost me at my heaviest with a 10-pound plate, or with a 10-kilo plate. And then the video, I think probably video that's been spoken about a lot across the company. Yeah. Oh, sugars, it disappeared. Strong one. For a quick start, I went to this competition for the Arnold qualifier. There was like 4 people deadlifting at the same time. I got really angry with this internally because I'm just like, no, this is my effort. You're gonna watch me. This isn't a divided thing. This is me going out there and giving it my best. So now every time I do this, I have this like anger mechanism in the back of my head that it's just, no, you're gonna watch me, and you'll see why. Screens are awkward. Why? Here we go.
Come on, start it up! Come on, start the party!
And this was kind of an amazing feat, just because I only had, well, you could leave me there as a bystander, I guess. I went to my friend's shed, and all these workouts that we had, sometimes lift on top of lift, and then how we kind of set it up for the world's what I'll be doing next. And the best I could ever do was 130 kilos. But I had this moment of inspiration that I am at the Worlds. I was just fine, let's make it the heaviest deadlift ever. And I said, well, all that I've gone through, my feet being stitched up, infected, what have you, I just said, no, blow it, it's time to go. So 165 kilos, it's the heaviest deadlift the heaviest straddle deadlift for International All-Round Weightlifting Association. I do have the heaviest deadlift, normal one as well for that association. But again, the rules always differ. At the Arnold's competition, I had to do 180 kilos back to back. So you could say that's my heaviest double I've ever done. But I had a whole bunch of neoprene to make sure that I could do that, because I just like neoprene, that it at least supports me and I can push against it, and that's fine. But again, it depends on what competition you go to. I'm sure I'm probably a strongwoman outfitter of telling you what is good, what's not good. When I went to Finland, I couldn't wear, what was it? It was polyester, the double ply elbow and knee supports. I had to buy neoprene, and you just think, geez, I need to get a mortgage just to buy for gear. And you're just thinking, it's worth it. Because at the end of the day, I'm actually very lucky, because half of my university athletes, a lot of the girls already had knee surgeries by the time that they were 20. So even with myself, I still haven't had a knee injury or a knee surgery yet. Really grateful for that. When I did do that, my little fall, it did hurt, I'm not gonna lie. As soon as I was back up and conscious, it was only a few seconds. Don't give Graham a hard time, my husband that took this, just because we've always talked, we watch Fail Army on YouTube, and I just said, if there's ever a situation, keep filming. So this was almost pre-discussed anyway, so it was fine. And at least, yeah, this guy, Gary, that was the first one, we know there's a paramedic there on site, so we're totally fine and happy with that. Yes, that was my first time ever passing out at a competition. I just think what happened, it was just the maximal efforts, one on top of each other, and so it was just fine. That happened, great, I was in a good, we had a paramedic there, so I was fine with that, absolutely happy with that. It's fine. But yeah, no, I needed to have, yeah, I could put them all the next day, just my head was hurting. But yeah, any other thoughts, questions to ask?
So Jen, you were saying that you run twice around the station,
yeah,
for example. Now most people think, yeah, I've done that, that's good enough.
Yeah.
Has there been any occasion where you've sort of gone for that extra thing that you've not made it, and what's been your reaction if you haven't done that?
That's a really good question.
The only reason I'm saying that, I know of other sportsmen that say they'll cycle up and down a mountain with their team.
Yeah. And
then the team think it's over, and he says, come on, we're going to go one more time.
Yeah.
And that seems a similar sort of trait to what you were just saying there, so I'm quite interested in.
Yeah, even in my friend's shed, Nick in Dimchurch, I don't know, I've got sick and tired of gyms, that it's just commercial, and if you're yelling, that people don't like that. So in my friend's shed, and it is, if you ever come, around Dimchurch area, that you just, oh, it's just Nick and Jenn lifting, it's okay, because it does, that's the thing, and I've yelled out some coworkers' names in a workout, and that's fine, we're human, we're human. I mean, that's the thing, you can't just shove each other, obviously there's laws in society that you can't do that. So I've yelled out these names, and it was great, it was just, at least I didn't harm that person. But so back to your point, I just yell at myself, and the other thing is, the whole and I wish to this video, Vicky here had smelling salts, and it's ammonia, that's what they give people that have passed out. But it just gives you that charge, that rush to say, I'm going to do this. It's just something inside that you always associate it. That it's just it's time to lift. You get mentally prepared to say, I'm going to lift that. And again, with the whole endurance thing, when I've made my goal, I try to sprint till I'm dead. My legs will turn to jelly. That's fine. And again, it's having that recovery period. And when I worked with a trainer in London, I didn't realize how much the recovery phase within a session is so important, because then it made me clock watch a little bit. And I was always the person that's like, okay, there's been a break between a song, whatever, I'll start my next, but it's not consistent enough. So, and then Graham was really great. I have this little IKEA clock, and it has all these like Arnold Schwarzenegger quotes, like for the 1s and 2s and stuff like that. So, get to the chopper! So that's on one of the hands. So, yeah. I know, I'm a little bit different, but that's the thing. We're all born original, don't die a copy. So that's the thing. Find your own path in life, and this is it. And if I've inspired anybody to maybe rethink, I don't know, if anybody's willing to try it, don't drink for 30 days. No excess sugar, try it. I honestly think you would feel amazingly better about yourself. Try it, see what you think, or even start running. The thing is, people just love to say, I'm going to do this, I'm going to go exercise 5 times a week. It's not necessary. Even for like my Arnold's prep, I was only doing 3 days. So that recovery time, because I was tearing up my muscles, protein, this and that you don't need it all the time. Runners on a different situation, again, that goes back to different muscle fibers, and that's your fast twitch and slow twitch fibers. That's fine, or depending on how you build up. But when you start something, say even if you're walking, walk, once that first week, because your body is going to be sore. And all these people that say, oh, I'm going to do this, and they're completely sore and they don't come back to the gym, your body has to adapt. Me being even a sore person, that 5 miles in that first day, that's what I usually do because of the Fitbit. Thank you, Steve. That, again, it's giving your body time. We all expect it to be a machine because of this instant gratification, thank you, kind of society now, that it should happen, it should do this, but we're still a body. Bones, flesh, it makes a difference. We're not machines. It just takes time sometimes. And that's, especially with myself, I can be a little bit impulsive to say it should happen, or I just say I'm being weak, but I'm not giving myself enough. I'm really hard on myself. It's a blessing and a curse at the same time. Right. Any more? 3 minutes. I've done pretty good, I think.
I would just like to finish off with a thank you. That was absolutely inspiring and wonderful. I don't know about everyone else, but I am really going to start yelling now. So anyone in the ladies' toilets in the admin building, if you hear noise, it's not just Jen, it's me letting it out and revving myself up. So that's the one thing I've really taken from that. I'm going to start shouting.
Yeah, I think because we're beings, and this is what I learned from my trainer in London, if you have to scream, shout, or if you have to journalize your feelings, get it out. I think in society, and I do, when I go to these strong woman comps, there's a video on YouTube going around, I do make these competitions like WWF in the 80s, where I pretend I'm the ultimate warrior, and I did. The crowd was there after this effort, get it absolutely psyched up, did the high fives up and down, because what do we have in society to say, no, you need to let all of these emotions out, besides when you go see a therapist, they're probably drawing half the time anyway. And I just think there's a point that you either have to play, run, gather sports, or that's the thing with the little yoga kind of thing that we have going on Monday nights, that possibly going to a spin class. If that's what it takes to have a little group of people, and I don't care that it's like just we can do those little activities or what have you, male, female, it doesn't matter. I think we just need to be more supportive for each other.
Human, yes.
Yeah.
A little thank you.
Thank you. Take a bow.
Are we going to have a committee meeting at some point as well? We're
Yes.
drumming up a bit of business. We'd love some committee members for the Women's Network as well. Men, women or otherwise, most welcome. So I think maybe the new year or maybe before Christmas.
I'm happy before Christmas. I'd accept I'm only in the
If
country
anyone's
until the 9th.
interested,
Yeah.
just come and see Jen or myself, and we'll organise a date either before Christmas or New Year, and we'll get some more ideas generated hopefully for next year. But thank you so much for coming.
Thank you very much.
Thank you
Really
for all the
appreciate it.
donations for doing it.
Oh yeah. Thank you.
That's
Yeah, I guess we need to turn her off. Okay.
I haven't heard the Ultimate Warrior quote in so long.
Alright, have you not?